Hey!
Hi! We were just at the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter.
Yay! So, there was a lot of people there. I was kind of surprised that there weren't more adults, but a lot of people were wearing costumes, which was great.
Yeah, it was really fun to see people in costume. There were a bunch of, kids and even adults dressed up.
That's true. Did you see that one lady who was walking around, and she had on full-on hair and makeup and was like a Death Eater?
Yeah, oh my gosh, she was cool. I wish we could have gotten some footage of that, but you don't like to be filming people without them
filming people without them noticing. I feel like that's kind of stalkery and possibly illegal.
Kind of terrible. If it hadn't been so busy, I'd have stopped and asked to get her picture.
It's true, but it was good. It was fun. I got myself a butterbeer frappuccino. It is extremely sweet and very butterscotchy. I am pretty much not going to drink any more than this. As someone who generally drinks black coffee, this is extreme. Sometimes put a little bit of milk in there. Generally don't put sugar in there. Yeah, and it is the sweetest thing that I've had in a long time. So,
nope. That's right.
But if you like butterscotch and you like frappuccinos, you'd probably like this. They also had like a Bertie Bott's every flavor bean one, which I was kind of concerned as to what the flavors were in there.
We saw them making it, and there was maybe a little bit of crushed up bean or something. There was something crushed they put in it, but then there were things like a mint sauce thing, and then there was cherries.
It was the mint that really through me off, because I'm not really into
whipping cream, and there was some other sort of thick creamy something.
Yeah, it was really the mint, the green mint, that threw me off as well. I think there was a green mint. What do you think that was? That was the chocolate frog frappuccino. Minty, no, not.
Yeah, but the Bertie Bott's one was kind of scary.
It was very colorful. There's a lot of colors happening in that. So I didn't go for that. I went for the butterbeer. I had kind of hoped it wouldn't be this sweet, but it was. But that's okay. It's I'm still liking it.
You could only get it in one size too.
Mm-hmm.
They had to pare everything down and to do it fast, because we spent almost the full time in lineups.
Yeah.
Which was kind of amazing.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours in line.
And didn't really get to see a whole lot. Now, they had some games, and they had some prizes and things like that.
Yeah.
But it was really designed for kids, which is fine. Harry Potter books were written for children.
Kids.
But it was great to see the kids there really doing Harry Potter Trivial Pursuit, and they were killing it.
They were. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they didn't even get to quite finish the question, and they'd just be screaming out the answer.
It was very loud. It would be this moment of just who's told Harry, "You're a wizard?" And all of a sudden, 400 children are screaming,
yeah,
Hagrid.
And, who said this quote? And all of a sudden, and they're halfway through the Albus Dumbledore quote, and all of a sudden you just hear, Albus! Mm. It was crazy.
Dumbledore, it was good, yeah. So that was good. And I think the kids got sorted, too, into their houses.
They did. Some of the kids got sorted into their houses. There was, a prop sorting hat. We couldn't get close enough to the table to check it out and get any footage of that, unfortunately.
That's true. Especially since there were so many kids around, we definitely didn't want to accidentally get somebody's children out of shot.
A ton of kids were dressed up in wizards robes and
yeah, there was a lot of kids
the full on regalia.
In their house
it was
robes,
awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mostly, I saw a lot of Hufflepuffs, a lot of Gryffindors.
A lot of Gryffindors. There were a nice few Slytherins too.
Yeah,
I didn't see that many Ravenclaw.
I really only saw 2 Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw is underrepresented or something.
I feel like Ravenclaw are just I feel like they're the fans who are just people can't know that I like Harry Potter. Am I right?
Maybe they were there low key and we just didn't see them. Well, maybe they're just so practical, as is the Ravenclaw way, that they're I don't need to dress up.
Well, that's true. The Ravenclaws that I know are extremely practical. They're very much just I don't need to wear my Harry Potter regalia to represent my Harry Potter fandom. So I think Ravenclaws need to be encouraged to represent.
Yeah, definitely. Come out in bigger numbers to the next event.
That's right. Okay, I think we're good.
So I know we were pretty hard on Ravenclaws for not representing at the live event.
Yes, I love you, Ravenclaw.
We didn't dress up either.
No.
To be fair, we really didn't. That being said, we've been to other live events, and I dressed up for one of them.
Yes, and I think I wore a very nice scarf that one of my friends made for me for Gryffindor. I didn't dress up. I wore my scarf.
As the books came out, we went together to a bunch of the anniversary
opening
stuff.
Yeah. We did, yeah. So
the launches, I should say.
The launches. We've gone to a couple of midnight launches for these books. So we met when I was 19, so you would have been like 18, straight out of high school?
Yeah, straight out of high school.
Straight out of high school. Look at us little babies. And I feel like that very first year there was going to be a launch or for midnight, like one of the last books in the series.
Yeah, we went to, I think it was the last couple.
The last
together.
two, for sure.
Because one of them that I don't think you were at with me, the one where I like really dressed up, was when I did Rita Skeeter.
That's true.
So I had like a little blonde wig that I picked up, and I picked up some plastic glasses that I like popped the lenses out of to like be her glasses, and I had the quill, and I had a little notebook, and I had like a long feather that I'd like bought from the craft store to be like a quill, and it was the silliest costume. I wish I had pictures because it was ridiculous.
Big old
I
nerds.
did it very like last minute-ish.
Yeah.
And I know she was meant to be more stylish, but I figured I'd just go with black robes because like that would be the easiest. And of course, when I was very little, and I mean like 5 or 6, I went out as a witch for Halloween. And you have to understand, we live in Newfoundland, so everything had to be like 20 times too big so it could fit over a snowsuit.
Yeah.
Because it was either freezing or we'd have our first snowfall by then in the year.
I have gone trick-or-treating when there's been 2 feet of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I get that.
So I had this giant black skirt and this huge giant like black button-up shirt.
That fit you as a teenager.
That was like over me to fit over a big old snowsuit when I was 5 or 6. That I could still fit into and was still a bit too big.
That's right. Nobody went
I had it like tied up around with a rope because I was a witch.
Nobody went as princesses when we went to we were kids.
So as a child it was tied up with a rope around my suit. But like I could like get it on with like a little belt. And this is like at like 18 or 19 years old. I'm like in a great big like thing that will fit me now.
I can...
And I just wore that very quickly to sort of be like, because it was loose and still a bit too big and flowy to sort of represent black robes, and it was very haberdash.
Yeah. I can... I just picture this so well because it's so true. Like, I remember one year for Halloween I had to wear my mom's Halloween costume because it was the only thing that could fit over my snowsuit.
Like, they were big puffy things too, and they were like full body affairs with a zipper up the front that you had to like get into.
Yeah, them late 80s, early 90s snowsuits, they were a work of art.
Oh, weren't they?
They were special.
What's the book that
50 Degrees Below Zero or something by Robert Munsch?
No, the Robert Munsch one where he refuses to get in his snowsuit.
Oh.
Is his name Johnny or something?
I'm gonna Google.
Oh, I have to pee.
Oh, I have to.
That's it, because every time they get him into his snowsuit, it takes so long to get him into his snowsuit that he has to pee every time, and they keep having to like rip it off and like.
Yeah. So that was somebody who definitely, I feel, Robert Munsch really felt.
He really captured the spirit of that. Picture that snowsuit.
And I don't know what it's like so much now, but my parents used to shove me and my brother outside, like pretty much. If we were home, we were outside playing.
Yeah.
So I wore that snowsuit a lot. Anyway, that was a nice little segue off into my childhood, after our childhood.
After that tangent.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been to a few of the live events together.
For sure. There's usually some sort of special foods, some drinks, usually Second Cup in the Avalon Mall. They had special drinks.
They stayed open late and did a
open
whole
late.
menu of things. It wasn't just butterbeer either.
Treats and goodies. Teas.
They had gilly water,
Mm-hmm.
which was a special recipe that they wouldn't divulge.
I'm pretty sure it's just different flavors of Italian soda.
Pretty much.
And they usually made some like special snacks and things like that. So it was it was good. I have fond memories of us sitting down, waiting for the Harry Potter books lined up outside the bookstore. This one was probably, I felt like, the least organized.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of well organized inside, but it was mostly things for very small children.
Yes.
It was less things for like a lot of grown-ups and stuff.
I was very surprised that the Chapters store did not take advantage of the fact that they were doing a big Harry Potter event and bring in more Harry Potter themed items.
Yeah, there
Honestly.
weren't that many Harry Potter themed items there, which was really surprising because they could have made like a killing.
Then they did have some, but they were like tucked away in the corner, very far away from the actual event. And we only have to kind of just stumble upon them.
And like most of the books, especially the 20th anniversary book, was very accessible and up front. But everything else was like at different corners of the store. And as we were going through the store, we were finding the different Harry Potter things.
Mm-hmm. I ended up buying a map. And this is pretty much how we ended up finding all the Harry Potter items. We weren't looking. We were just sort of like, well, let's kind of segue away from the crowd so that we can go get some coffee and then we can leave. And as I was walking past a bookshelf, out of nowhere, this Marauder's map came flying off the bookshelf and just landed in my hand.
Like she literally just kind of went, oh, and caught something, and I didn't even know what was happening. And she's just standing here like this.
Standing there with this Marauder's map in my hand. And I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And so I bought the Marauder's map.
And I did too.
Yeah, because
it's a beautiful map, and we'll insert, as we're talking here, a bunch of like up close shots of like what the map looks like.
For sure. And that's how we found all the Harry Potter merchandise. It wasn't out where everything else was. It was just sort of tucked in the corner. It just so happened that as we walked past, this map just came flying off and it landed in my hands. And it's like somebody said, you need this. And I do, and I have it. And perhaps even incorporated into a costume for Halloween.
Ooh. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So in addition to the map, I also picked up the 20th anniversary edition of the book. I mean, how many editions of a book are too many editions to have? I have the Philosopher's Stone in German, believe it or not, because I just ran across it at a thrift store.
What?
It was randomly in a thrift store just sitting there, so I picked that up. I already had 2 editions of it at that point because I had my paperback one that I was first given as a child, and then as I started getting the hardcover books, Mom bought me shortly after the hardcover edition to sort of like match the rest of the set. And then I picked up, the illustrated version of the Philosopher's Stone. So it's not like I needed another edition.
5 versions of this book?
Yeah.
Technically one of them is in a language she can't read.
Well, it's true. It's in a language I can't read, but it's still really cool to look at.
It's a good excuse to learn German.
It is. And it's got some like interesting different cover art and different things about it. It's kind of a cool edition. But I mean, it was Hufflepuff House, and it has all the information for my house, so like I couldn't not pick up this version.
It was difficult for me not.
How pretty the spine
I
is.
know. It was very difficult for me not to buy that book. But I live in a very small house, and it's my goal in life to not put any more clutter in there. It's not working out very well because I like to buy things, but
yeah, it's not working for me either.
no. So someday I'll have all the books. When I was there, I actually bought as well the Hogwarts library collection.
Yes, you ordered that from online.
I
while
did
we were there
order
at the store.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did order it from Chapters while we were at the store to have these sent to my house.
Since going to the actual event, they had a live discussion on Twitter.
Yes.
Covering both the Philosopher's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets, and they asked Pottermore asked a few different questions, and one of them that I thought would be nice to answer for this was, what would you say to someone who's never read this series?
Someone who's never read Harry Potter, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a rich world, and it's such a great story, and I know the first book is fairly juvenile. It is probably, like...
It's kind of simplistic in the way it's written.
But the series on a whole is such a great story, and it gets so much better, and the first book is so good.
Yeah, and I mean, despite
Just
the fact that
richer.
it is a little juvenile and more simplistically written, so a younger kid could pick it up, it still does a really good job of hooking you.
For sure. I feel like these books, by not reading them, you are not giving yourself a chance to really engulf yourself in like that magical world.
Just as a general experience, especially for something that's meant to be or thought of a lot as only a kid's book, it would be a great experience to just like pick up the audiobook. It's so easy to do, and just like listen to it while you're doing other things.
I think that anybody who has not read this series should, just because it is such a magical experience, right?
And don't just take our word for it. We've got a couple of small messages from some other people reflecting on the series now that it's 20 years old.
Yeah, certainly. Take their word for it and not just ours. Or take the millions of people who have read Harry Potter and made it the sensation that it is. When we went to this event, there was probably like 50 children there screaming out answers to trivia questions.
Oh yeah, they did a sorting hat trivia thing.
All under the age of 10.
Where they pulled the questions out of the hat and like they knew those answers.
That's right. So if you don't want to take our word for it, take the upcoming generation, because they're all into it too. So it's got to be good. It's got several generations into it.
Hi everybody, I'm Jill, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Now, I read the first 3 books in probably 2 nights, but the Philosopher's Stone stood out to me. And that's because when I was growing up, and every time I've gone to university, and I keep going back, I just love school. I love going to school. I love getting ready to go to school. And in the Philosopher's Stone, when Harry is told he gets to go to this magical school and buy all these really cool school supplies, I was just sold. I was so on board. I loved reading about all the different shops he had to go to get his supplies, and getting his wand for the first time, and just learning about this magical world through something so mundane as getting your school supplies was just such an exciting time for me. And it might seem a little bit lame. I know I love school. It's really whatever. But Ravenclaw, right? Anyway, so that was my favorite part of the book, was just going through Nocturne Alley for the first time. And getting sorted was so good too. As for things that go on at the school in this book, they aren't quite my favorite. With the troll and Quirrell and everything. I loved it, but I mean, the part that really took me was getting ready to go to school and learning about the world for the first time, and seeing the castle for the first time, and getting in the sorting. Just that whole introduction to this magical world was so powerful to me that it kept me reading, and I kept going back to Hogwarts with Harry, and I'm sure we all did. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey Mandy, Matthew LeDrew over here from Engen Books. What the Harry Potter series means to me is probably a lot different than it means to everyone else during this anniversary, because I've read it for the first time about 3 years ago, and I binged read all of them at the same time. I tend to avoid things popular when they are. I tend to like to see if they stand the test of time first and that they're not fatty. And Harry Potter did that. And I did very much love it at the time, and it waylaid a lot of my criticisms. I try to avoid being critical of something I haven't read, but it was hard with something that was so pervasive. I had this opinion going in that after the fact, the books would be appropriate for no one, that book one wouldn't be appropriate for older readers anymore. If someone was reading it as they grew up, like many people did, that they wouldn't be able to read book one as an adult, and new readers coming into it as children wouldn't be able to read book 7 now that it's all out, and there wasn't a delay as more books were made. But that wasn't the case. They were perfectly enjoyable to me as an adult, all of them. In fact, I think my favorite one might have been number 3. Still haven't seen all the movies. Could not make it through the third one. And no amount of prodding will get me to do it. And that's actually part of the problem, why it took too long to read it, because I actually tried to watch the movies first and had trouble with the first 2, and then the third one, I fell asleep 3 times, and I was like, well, that's done. But yeah, I love the books. They're excellent storytelling, and I actually learned a lot about writing fantasy from it. It's not something that's usually in my wheelhouse. But yeah, it's a wonderful series of novels that kind of put a stamp on a generation of young readers, and should be commended. Thanks. Hope that helps.
What Harry Potter means to me is it represents a completely separate universe that gives me hope. It just shows you that there's a world of endless possibilities out there. The first time I saw the movie, I haven't read any of the books, so I saw the movie first, and then I loved the movie. I think I was in my 20s when I first seen the movie, because it was definitely after high school, and I wanted to be in Hogwarts. At like 23 years old, I wanted to be at Hogwarts. I was super jealous that I didn't get to go to my sorting hat, and I didn't get to be in Hufflepuff, but anyway, I just find it gives you that little bit of, I guess, encouragement and possibilities that are just out there, and it's just an entirely fascinating universe that even to this day, at 33 years old, I still want to be in Hufflepuff. I still want to go to Hogwarts. I still want to eat the chocolate frogs and all that awesome stuff. I love it. And our child is reading the books currently, and she's 10, and she really likes them too. But yeah, it lets kids know that, there is good in the world. Nothing is out of your reach, pretty much. You can come from any background, any area of wherever you live, and it tells you that you can go and be successful and be a contributing member to society and still have your best friends and still, just enjoy life and have an awesome time.
And we'll leave you with those thoughts, and until next time, we solemnly swear we're up to no good. Because I rewatched the end of the footage where we were.
Okay.
So, when we were doing it live, like months ago.
Jesus. Months
right?
ago.
Months ago. That was June.
Frig.